Well, good evening, everyone. I really appreciate each and every one of you making the time to join us on this Tuesday evening, the first Tuesday of the month of October. Believe it or not, we are already in October. We are grateful for the wonderful September that we had. There was a lot of volume coming in very late of the month. And yesterday, today, there was two different reports Ryan Mumford sent us that was showing one qualifier for the incentive trip. Oh, two more qualified for an incentive trip, and went all the way up to three more that qualified by day's end today. And so I know a lot of people were working hard till the very, very end of September to not only qualify for the incentive trip, but also to put their team together to finish out the rest of the year strong. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for your leadership, for your efforts, for your diligence in working the actives business. And I can tell you this, and I'll promise you this, what you do today will pay a lot of dividends in the weeks to the months, the years to come. So thank you so much for finishing the month strong. Therefore, moving into this month, as you all know, Angie alluded to it, I always allude to it, that our first Tuesday of the month, our testimonial Zoom meeting is basically my most favorite call that we have monthly. And the reason is it's because not only is it hosted by one of your very own distributors, but it's also real life experience of people having by taking our products, having their personal experience on what the product does for them. So we had Dr. Earl, we have Rich Patel, we'll have Joe Maroon, and all these wonderful scientific minds, these doctors that can break down why butyric acid is good for the body, why tetrahydrocurcumin is good for the body. But at the end of the day, no matter what is in our products and how it affects the body, it's how it affects you individually and what results you have, because everybody reacts different to certain medication, to certain supplements. And so by using our products and by hearing firsthand accounts of what our products does for you, to me is the most powerful thing. And so without further ado, I want to introduce our host for tonight, Jerry Scrivner. Me and him have a lot of things in common, but the biggest thing we do have in common is we both love Japanese food. I don't know about you guys, but I'm half Japanese. I live in Hawaii. We're a melting pot of different cultural foods, but by far, Japanese is also my favorite. And so since Jerry loves his favorite food is Japanese, he's also one of my favorite distributors by default as well. So without further ado, I will turn the time over to our host for tonight's call, Jerry Scrivner.
Hey, thank you very much, Stu. I really appreciate the introduction. And yeah, that is definitely one of my favorite foods. For those of you that don't know, I lived in Japan for a total of almost 11 years. And plus I'm trying to get close to Stu's level with the kind of some of the cool Hawaiian shirts that I'm starting to buy and collect. So one of these days I'll make it to the same level. But you know what? We have a great lineup tonight. We have some people that have some just amazing stories to share with everybody, and I just kind of want to get right to it. Before I introduce the first guest that I've invited for tonight, I just want to kind of share an observation that I've been making with the products that we have from Actives over the last few years. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a intermittent closet runner, which means that I just run often enough to make it hurt every time. No, I'm just kidding. But what I've noticed is, since I've been taking the products from Actives, and I've shared this with a couple of people, is that I've been running for probably the last 12 years or so. I'm 54 this year. And what I've noticed is, before taking the trifecta, when I would stop running for some period of time, some extended period of time, unfortunately, sometimes, and I would start running again, I think anybody that stopped an exercise and then restarted, you know that there's kind of that new burn-in period where you have to kind of ramp back up and joints are sore and muscles are sore. And what I've noticed is, and this is just something I started running again last week, by the way, and it's been a year and a half or so since I've really done any running at all. And what I've noticed a couple times that I've done that since I started with the Actives products is that break-in time or that burn-in time, like I said, is roughly about half of what it was before I was taking the trifecta. So before I was taking the trifecta, when I would stop running and start running again, it would probably take a good week and a half, 2 weeks maybe, to kind of break in and get through those initial sore muscles and achy joints and kind of get back into the stream. And, just this last week, I started running on Monday last week. And I would say by Friday, Saturday, I was starting to feel pretty good. And that's been pretty consistent in my experience. So just something to share. If you have any athletes or anything like that, that's something that's really done for me. And it's a pretty recent thing that's happened. So the first person, so let's get to the people that have the really good stories. So the first person I want to introduce is somebody named Warren Farrell. He's a really good friend of mine. We actually work together in our full-time jobs. When I first talked to Warren, he's only been in Actors a few weeks now, I think 3 or 4 weeks. He really kind of saw, he got the picture of what the products could do, but he's pretty in tune with his fitness. He's pretty in tune with his health. And he's very in tune with the products that he puts into his body. So, he approached these and had a lot of questions, had a lot of good questions, and was already very knowledgeable coming in. So just invited him here tonight to kind of share his experience with what he saw with Actives, what he saw with our products that kind of made him say yes, and what his experience has been over the last 2 weeks, I think, as he's been on the products. So Warren, go ahead, take it away.
Hey, Jerry, thank you.
Hi.
So I've had a pretty interesting health traveling path, I guess, that I've been on. And it has led me to, to where we are right now. The butyric acid was something that I latched onto because of gut health and an illness a strange illness that nobody could ever figure out what it was. It lasted for months. I lost a ton of weight, low-grade fever for months. And I was in the Czech Republic and I discovered kefir, which is a fermented milk, very, very, very strong probiotic. And of course, that path has led to these changes in health. And I've always been a label reader. And so I discovered through a YouTube video, the butyric acid, and I was having buttermilk in the mornings. Of course, that's a lot of calories and I love butter. So Jerry and I were talking and we got on the subject of lifestyle choices. And I'm a very active person. I'm 53. I mountain bike, I run. So I've kind of used my body up and lots of crashes and aches and pains here and there. And I count myself fortunate to not have too many aches and pains. But the few that I have are noticeable, and we're friendly with each other, and I stretch and try to take care of it. I was recently out in Kansas City on business, and I had taken the trifecta, and the one thing that I just woke up one day and I realized there was just this noticeable change, and it's kind of hard to describe until you've actually been there. My mood had improved. Now I do truly believe that, and I've slipped a little bit on my diet, but I do believe that that serotonin that's developed in our gut, and having a healthy gut, you get more serotonin, and it's the feel good drug. So that with my knees have been bugging me because I had been running. Like Jerry, I'm a procrastinative runner, so I can come up with 1,000 things to do in the mornings when I should be putting on my running clothes and going out. So yeah, I noticed my knees were just feeling much better, and the improved the mood. I say that with it's a level of stress that I've been comfortable with, and I was okay with it. And hard to describe again, but understanding how important our health is. And I'm lucky genetically that I've not had a lot of side effects from the poor lifestyle choices. But now that I'm aging, and a lot of my friends are falling apart that I've grown up with, and I started noticing this 15, 20 years ago, actually. And the being a label reader, understanding what's in these products that we're taking is pretty important. And all of that combined with the aging that we're all doing, we all have to really pay attention to our health. And it starts with little things, and it's what we put in our body, and it's the lifestyle choices. So I'm really excited to have this now. And I was just telling one of my neighbors about this. And when you're excited about something, other people are more receptive. So I'm at this place now where, yeah, I'm noticing a change. I could sell ice cream to an Eskimo right now. I feel good about it, you know? So, and Jerry and I talked about this, and I said, well, let me have a chance to try this, because I know me, and I know that if I don't believe in something, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that I'm going to try to sell it. Well, now that I've had this experience, I do truly believe that I can go out and the smile on my face will be true. People notice that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I'm excited. I think this will play into the other things I've been doing, like the kefir and all of that stuff that we can do to just try to enjoy our lives as long as we can. Who knows how long we'll live? It's how much we enjoy it while we're living it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Warren. I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you, and I'm excited to help share what we have here at Actives with you and your friends and family, and get things moving for you. It's going to be a fun ride. So, yeah, like I tell people, I like Warren said, I've made it this far in my life without a lot of major physical injury, most of my body parts, and sometimes in spite of my best efforts. So, so sometimes I tried real hard, just got lucky, I guess. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And if you need any help with your neighbor, certainly let me know. I'm always available. So, so the next person I'd like to introduce has been with Actives for a little while. She's my neighbor. She's a really great friend of ours, a longtime family friend. She's also, probably for the better, one of the most demanding and business partners and people that hold me the most accountable, which I very appreciate sometimes, most of the time. But no, I think most of you have met Tanya. She was with me, and her husband we were together at the event in Salt Lake in July. And I know a number of you got to meet her. She's a fantastic person, a great leader, and she's very, very, very passionate about what we're able to do with these products to help people. And she's I think we were planning on having some of her cousins distributors with us tonight, but I'll let her tell that piece. So I'd just like to introduce Tanya VanDyke to share her story.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Yes, I have a cousin who's a business distributor now with me, and but she works for FEMA, and she's deployed, and she's in Puerto Rico at the moment. So she emailed her story to me and asked me to share it. And then my other cousin had some late clients, and so she also emailed her story and asked me to share her story as well. So I thought I would just brief touch on my own story. My lovely upline did not share the products with everybody in the cul-de-sac but Patrick and myself. And it wasn't until I was actually having a Charlie horse and was in pain and we were all outside, he said, I have something for you, and ran to his house and came back and said, take this. I wasn't thinking I trusted him, so I did. And within a few minutes, my Charlie horse was gone. I felt great. I'm like, what did you give me? That's how I was introduced to Optimend. I cannot live without Optimend. I became a distributor with Actives because Jerry finally said, I cannot keep up with the demand. You keep coming to my house every other day because you're selling Optimin left and right. And please, I can't stop. And so that's how I fell in love with the products. Eventually, David Brown convinced me to take the trifecta, and I now cannot ever be without those products because I have entered that 50 age, and I like to compete in workouts. And my doctor actually told me I overwork out, but now that I take the trifecta, my body recovers, and my trainer forgets that I'm not 28 like she is. And I recover better and curl more than my husband. So I was pretty proud of myself for being almost 51. So anyway, I'm going to share my cousin Stephanie's story. She was no. She would not put the product in her mouth, even though she saw that I was recovering, that I didn't have the aches and pains, that I could move much better, that my gut was healing, my brain fog was lifting. She was still no. So in January of 2020, she had to come home from work to have surgery. And so when she stepped out to use the restroom, I discussed the trifecta with her doctor to see if she could take these after her procedure. The doctor okayed her trifecta. So while she was down and I was her nurse for 3 weeks, she unknowingly took the trifecta every single day. And then 3 days after I left, she called me and she said, during my surgery, I felt amazing. I had so much energy. You were constantly yelling at me, telling me, stop, you cannot get up and do the things you think you can. She says, now I feel terrible. I don't feel well at all. I can hardly move and I hurt. She's like, did you take some of my drugs with you? And I said, well, they're mine, but yes, I did take them with me. I said, you unbeknownst have been taking the trifecta. And she said, I want it. You need to come back this weekend and bring me. So this was towards the end of January. And so I brought her the trifecta and I brought her an arrow. She saw her primary care doctor in the first part of February, and she had to do a follow-up with them in April. And her doctor said, what are you doing? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, your blood pressure is lower, you've lost 20 pounds, and you just overall look better. What are you doing? And so she told him about the trifecta, and both her OBGYN and her primary care doctor were very impressed with her recovery by taking the trifecta. She then decided that she needed to be on these products. When she is working, she works 7/12s, and she can do that for months until they get a disaster under control. So she keeps her trifecta and her arrow, and she has a shaker bottle full of water. She puts it full of water every night. So when her alarm goes off, she rolls over, she makes her arrow, she takes her products, and within 10 minutes, she said, I can't be in bed anymore. So I'm never late to where I need to be because this gets me up and makes me move. I have to move with arrow and the trifecta in my body. And she said, I'm able to smile and, just be a genuinely better person to all these people that are coming in to help for FEMA for help that have, lost all of their worldly possessions. And so she's just really, she had signed up as a customer for a long time. And then David Brown was in our area and hosted an event with Jerry and I, and she watched him over Zoom and called me that night and said, why am I not sharing this with people? Why did you let me be just a customer? And so she joined us so she can share these products with everybody that she meets. when she's traveling. And she is forever grateful for the way that these help her and her body. And my younger cousin is a hairdresser and has very bad arthritis in her right shoulder, which is her dominant arm, and thought she was going to have to retire. She also was no to the products. But she came over and was in my car, and we were getting ready to go pick up Stephanie, and the three of us were going on a vacation. And she said, I don't think I'm going to be very much fun. I'm in so much pain, I can hardly move. I'm not going to be able to hike. I'm not going to be able to float down the river. And I stopped the car in the cul-de-sac. We haven't even gotten out of the cul-de-sac yet. And I run around to the back and I grab some Optimum and I run it back around and I said, take this. And she's like, and I said, I'm not leaving the cul-de-sac until you take it. We hadn't gone 2 miles down the road and she couldn't even move her shoulder like this. She was doing this 2 miles later and she had no pain. We had the best week ever. So she started on Optimum. Every morning, those two were there with their little hands out going, we need our pills, we need our drink. Now we're ready for the day, let's go play. But she still only took Optimum. And then she came down with COVID. And she sent me a text on a Tuesday evening and said, I am sick. I don't know, what to do. How do I get over this? And I said, I will bring you the rest of the trifecta. You need to take it. And I gave her the directions. Thursday morning, she texted me and said, I do not know what's in those bottles that you gave me, but I feel amazing. She was well. She was canning, bossing her husband around, making him do chores. She had all her energy and she takes it to this day, all 4 products, because she can, it's been a year and she still can do her job. She's pretty much pain-free and her energy level is through the roof. So, it's been a blessing for me to be able to bless my family with the ability to have a good quality, pain-free life. Back to you, Jerry.
Oh, thank you very much. I have a feeling that story about how I shared or didn't share, I'm never going to live that down. But I'll tell you what, one day it will be a great training example of how not to recruit people. So I saw a question. I think Cindy had a question about Tina. How many Optimum was she taking to help with her shoulder? Just to recommend.
I gave her 2 to help that started it, but she takes 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the next person I would like to introduce is somebody who's been, I don't even know how long we've known each other now, a long time. But he's been a very, very close friend of mine. Been with me at Active pretty much from the beginning and is a tremendous leader. I don't think I know somebody that has more passion, more heart for helping people. I don't know if I know anybody that's just more real with who he is and when he talks to people and shares what we have. And I do know this, I will kind of preamble on his testimony. I do know that he's coming up on a pretty special anniversary, and that I'm hoping that he's going to share that with you guys tonight. So right now I'd like to introduce Aaron Kosmitz. He has an incredible story and he's just an amazing person. So Aaron, please.
Hey everybody. Thanks, Jerry. You're the best. I also have a photographic memory. It just hasn't developed yet. See, something you said today earlier, you were like, have fun, reach people, and make money. And I was like, man, that is really simple. It's really simple. So I thought I'd start with a cheesy joke. It'll never be as cheesy as Stu and David's dad jokes, but I love them just the same. Yeah, right, I'll get it right out of the way. I am 3.5 weeks away from 2 years of no opiate painkillers. I knew way back in 2018 when I got a sneak peek at Product X at Optimend that I'd be able to do that one day. And it's to not have to wake up every morning thinking about, I got to get my drugs in me. That empty feeling that you feel. The reason opiates are so dangerous is because they express dopamine. Dopamine is getting a raise, winning the race, sex, all the good stuff, all the crazy good stuff in life. You can take a pill and it expresses dopamine, but every morning, or for some people every 4 hours, the opposite of dopamine is this guilty, shameful, empty feeling. So to not have to grab a prescription bottle every morning is just a gift beyond. But something the other thing I want to tell you guys about was I was in a really bad car accident where I flatlined a bunch of times and I broke 25 bones in my torso, my neck and spine and all this, everything. About 3 weeks after I woke up from the coma, I remember 2 neurosurgeons coming in and talking to me and doing their thing. And I was noticing one of them was being really careful about his words. He was managing expectations. And that's super difficult to hear. And I think that the other neurosurgeon sensed that, and he was like, well, hey, you never have to mow lawns again. And that really upset me because I like mowing lawn. I wasn't in landscaping. He was just saying, because I was so young, it was like a chore at that time. And no, so because I started with Jerry and Actives in 2018, the boost, the financial boost that gave us allowed Kate and I to move right before the world went crazy, right at the end of 2019, and get out of a toxic chemical town in Michigan. And so we started with a new house in the middle of an acre of dirt. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you have seen it. It was dirt, sand. It wasn't even dirt. And 2 years later, for these last 2 years that I haven't been taking opiates, that I've been taking care of my pain through with Optimend, I have grass. I hope this comes. I hope this comes through. I think it's too bright. But I have the most beautiful grass that I could have ever imagined I could own. So I'm really grateful to Actives for many things. And not being chemically dependent on not just opiates, but at that same time, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I stopped with antidepressants and anti-anxiety and sleeping medications, anything that I can control with the trifecta, I do now. And life is infinitely better. And thanks, Jerry.
Absolutely, Aaron. Every time I hear your story, it's just amazing. And I'm happy I was able to call you and you said yes. It's pretty amazing because I've had talking to Aaron and Tanya and Warren over the last few days, and it's something I just thought about when Aaron was speaking. And I think Warren really said it well yesterday, right? We do this business and sometimes we get caught up in the nose or how hard it is or, all of that side of it, right? And I kind of gave Warren a little bit of Aaron's story because truly, I've tried to tell Aaron's story before, and it just, you can't even come close to giving it justice. And Warren said it really well yesterday, but all four of us said the same thing, similar, in the last 3 days as we've been talking. And, you know, it's one of those things where what we have is special, and what we have really helps people. And if 1 in 100, if 1 in 1,000 people can tell you a story like Aaron can tell after getting on the products we have at Active, then all the other BS that we have to deal with as part of this industry sometimes is worth it. If I can just help one person have that story, then the rest is all worth it. So, Stu, thank you very much for inviting me to host tonight. It's a pleasure. It's always an honor to be the host on these calls, and it's always a lot of fun. And I'm glad that we have this opportunity to share and help people out. So.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Jerry, Aaron, Warren, Tanya, for those wonderful testimonials. I mean, just so powerful. And it goes a long way in basically confirming the products that our CEO, President Ryan Thompson, David Brown, CEO Angie, and the rest of the team has put together. Going to what you said, Jerry, is we might not be able to change the world, but we might be able to change the world for one person. And I think through our products, we'll be able to change the world and the lifestyles of many people that we encounter. Because as Aaron pointed out, and I love Aaron's testimonials, because I really remember, Aaron, that very first time in Salt Lake City, we're looking at the sharks, wondering if they're going to eat us, or we were shark bait for them, and we getting this product X coming out. What is this? And I remember that time and your first experience with Optimin, and that you're faithful to it, and how much it has helped you over the years to be opiate free, in helping relieve the pain, and all the others, you know, Warren and Tanya, and all your experiences with that just validates what we have here. And so thank you for sharing. I know a lot of these are personal when you talk about your own testimonials, but it also helps us, that those who listen on this call, about these products. So thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you so much for putting together this wonderful group to share with us. And so with that being said, I am, all right, get here, stop this recording here.